So out of the 25 barangays, we now have 15 live barangay learning hubs, and we also have 4 public schools that have their own learning hubs. So in the entire city, we have about 47 hotspots, and at the public library that provides free Wi-Fi. And based on our numbers, we have 3,000 daily users. Next slide. These are the locators here in Balanga City. So we have the necessary bandwidth to serve IT-BPM companies. So we have from America, we have a Google-funded AI accounting software company called BotKeeper, who has been with us for about 5 years now. And then, of course, we have Genpack. And we also have the Australian web development company UNet here in Balanga City. And all 3 companies have generated 825 employees already as of this month. So we do invite you to grow your business here in Balanga City, Smart University Town 2030. You can reach us at investbalanga@gmail.com, or you can call us at 047-237-0473. Or you can contact us through our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at investbalanga. We hope to hear from you soon. And if you have any questions, we'll be here on the call. And of course, we can discuss more. We can have more discussions afterwards. So thank you for your time. Pleasant afternoon, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Kyrie. That was indeed a very informative presentation about the city of Balanga. I don't know if it's just me, but at least I've known more now with you discussing what your city has been doing in the past several months or probably a year. We have been with some of the officials of the FAB, Freeport Zone, in one of the HIMS conferences, and U.S. mission. That's why we came about knowing more about Bataan as a new wave city for healthcare BPO. Now, let's proceed with the next speaker, also to talk about what's happening in the area of Pangasinan. So the discussion here would be coming from the president of the United Pangasinan ICT Council. And for the introduction, I'm going to read on the notes. I have always been active in the nonprofit organization since 2010, and I've started my ICT advocacy since 2015. A graduate of UP Diliman with a degree in physics. I taught in the UP system for almost 5 years before moving to a technical career in the semiconductor industry. I also ventured in business and have attended various startup trainings and events. It is the intellect and creative minds that will bring economic value and growth potential to our province. I want to build a strong local ICT council that will help bring jobs to the people of Pangasinan. That's a quote from our next speaker, the Senior Field Reliability Engineer of Lattice Semiconductor. Let's all welcome our second speaker, Edmundo Ed Casulo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, JL, for the introduction. So I have the slide with Ms. Pachi. So thank you for the opportunity, HIMAP, and also the guidance from NICP and the endorsement as well. So on behalf of UPICT, I'll be discussing what's going on in Dagupan City. So Dagupan City is just about 200 kilometers north of Manila, and about 2 hours drive from Baguio and La Union. And as you can see from the image, it's close to some rivers and beaches, so a lot of tourist spots surrounding Dagupan City. And it's just a 3.5 hours drive via NLEX or TPLEX. So the question is why Dagupan City is a suitable location for HIMAP locators. Well, in Region 1, in the next slide, we're considered the center of healthcare institutions in Region 1, with about 10 private hospitals, and where the Region 1 Medical Center is located. We have public clinics and private clinics, about 417 of them are private, and also diagnostic centers numbering to 5. So in support of these large requirements for manpower, we also have a lot of schools supporting these various medical and allied institutions. Next slide. So in a testament on the growing healthcare industry in Dagupan, we also have a new locator, the Medical City Clinic, which is currently based or housed in the new SM Center in the Dagupan City. So that's the new one. Next slide. Okay, so for the number of graduates with about 3 top universities in Dagupan and other higher education institutions, we produce about 8,000 fresh graduates every single year. And it also houses a number of technical vocational institutions and senior high school as well. And next slide. And for the top 3 universities, these are the medical courses currently being offered. And also the other colleges also are offering other medical courses. So these are just examples. So as a breakdown of the graduates, we can see a higher graduates in the accountancy and business administration, but equal also in the number of graduates in the education and medical and allied courses, including engineering and mathematics. So as a testament on that, I was able to, I have some friends, foreigner students that actually are coming here in Dagupan City to enroll because the education system in Dagupan is highly acknowledged in their country, like in Sudan, in some parts of Africa. So the number of foreign students are really increasing here in Dagupan City. Next slide. So the Dagupan City is the center of transportation hub in Pangasinan, and it's being supported by a lot of bus companies, and it's like all roads lead to Dagupan inside Pangasinan. And right now we have the new taxi services that applies around the city. So we have, including the jeepneys and trikes, we have the 24/7 transport support. And with the one-stop shop business initiative of the city, we've seen an increase in the business registration up to 30%. And that's because we have the minimum wage starting from 280 a day, and with a very minimal commercial space lease for about 380 per square meter per month. And as you can see, with the number of investments pouring in Dagupan, majority of it is more on personal services, and it's reflected with the graduates that we're producing. And the number of hotels are also increasing in the neighboring towns of the Dagupan City. So that will really help a lot in the promotion of tourism. In terms of power, the Dagupan City is supported by the company Decorp, and the average selling rate is about 9.85 and 8.22 for industrial rates. And it's a very stable power source. We don't have that much problem with our electricity here. In terms of the telecommunications, we've listed 6 internet service providers here in Pangasinan, and a lot of supporting infrastructures like the radio and TV stations. In terms of the future plans, we've learned quite a while that the national broadband project of our government, we have 3 nodes surrounding Dagupan City, so that will really open a lot of opportunities for Dagupan to be surrounded by higher interconnectivity. And next slide. So as a testament, maybe I can discuss about how Cytel went ahead and established their recruitment hub and training center here in Dagupan City and Ordaneta. So maybe they learned firsthand that these 2 cities will be recognized as digital cities. So with the help of the Dagupan City LGU, we were able to take care of Cytel's needs, and they were able to successfully open right on time their max hubs here in Dagupan City and Ordaneta. We also have local BPO companies already operating here in Dagupan, and they are serving foreign companies as well, and also steady in influx of other local software companies as well. And we take pride of our young and dynamic leader. He's a former world president of JCI and also a former classmate of mine in high school. So the way I know our good mayor is that he's really into the development and the improvement of our city in terms of the promise of internet and the IT technology. And so for the last slide, we're just a young ICT Council, started 2019, but our aim really is to create a united and stronger NGO-led ICT Council. That will be my last slide. Thank you, and welcome to the Dagupan City.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ed Casula. Certainly, a lot are excited to also take a look at Bataan. Personally, I think we have seen how Bataan, being very near Metro Manila, I think if you take a look at NLEX, SCPEX, and TPLEX, you can be in Bataan in less than, probably around 3 hours maximum. So Dagupan is quite near, Pangasinan is quite near, and we have an option really to explore the area for an office operation. And coming from both Bataan and Pangasinan, really the extreme north of Luzon, let's now move to the far, far south, all the way to Zamboanga. But before we do that, for our third speaker, let us first acknowledge a very important person who just joined the group in this call or webinar. Let's acknowledge the Zamboanga City Ecozone Chairman, Mr. Raul Gigondola. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. And I believe Mr. Gigondola will be joining our third speaker in the discussion of Zamboanga as an emerging BPO hub. Okay, so let's proceed with our third speaker. So I think you're quite familiar with him because he had joined us many times in HIMAP. He basically runs with the same code, similar to what I did with Mr. Casula. The code of this speaker is dynamic, creative, and visionary entrepreneur that help develop leadership, creativity, and teamwork to design and execute solutions. So the past president, organization, position, location of Southern Luzon, of Southern Philippines, president of the Zamboanga ICT Council, the past board of director of Industrial Group of Zamboanga, board of director, Regional Technical Education Skills Development Committee or TESDA 9, the president of Industry Tripartite Committee, DOLE 9, president, National ICT Confederation of the Philippines, with a degree from the Asian Institute of Management and Masters in Business Administration, MBA, Computer Information Systems from British Columbia Institute of Technology, Canada. It's my honor to present to you the Vice President for Business Development of the Mega Fishing Corporation. Let's welcome Michael Kelly P. Chu Lim.
Thank you, Sir JL. Naya naman ako, ang haba ng introduction. I'd like to thank HIMAP for having us and giving us the opportunity to present our cities to your members. I was humbled to be part of IBPAP's webinar yesterday where we talked about countryside development. And I'd like to highlight to your members why going into the countryside makes sense. I'm not sure if IBEX is a HIMAP member, but IBEX highlighted what benefits they were able to garner because they were in the countryside. And one of the things that they really wanted to highlight was the retention, because everybody was in their city So nobody was homesick, and the retention rates were higher than normal. So just, I guess, just, an add-on to before I present Zamboanga City. So can I have the next slide, please? So Zamboanga City is a big city, although I know that my counterparts, Bataan and Pangasinan, may be smaller. We are a big city, just, I guess, because many years ago, according to the stories of the older people in Zamboanga, we used to be the center of economy in Mindanao. We were there earlier than Davao and earlier than Cebu. Along the way, I don't know what happened, but we are where we are now. But with that, you can see from our population at then 2015 at 861,000. Right now, 2020, I believe we are more or less about 1 million people, and the land area of 145,000 hectares. Yeah, that's. I think we are only next to Davao in terms of land mass. So next slide, please. Our distance from Manila, although at 457 nautical miles, that's only an hour and a half away by plane. And I should know that because I take that every week. So it's not that far by plane, because you can actually do it by plane. You can choose to do it by boat if you want, but that will take you 3 days, I think. So I wanted to highlight the economy of Zamboanga. We're at 66.75 billion economy. Yeah. And you can highlight there, one of the things that you would see is we are the sardine capital of the Philippines. And that's actually how I got myself into Zamboanga. My company follows the fish. So when we moved to Zamboanga, I came with the equipment and everything back in 1995. So I've been in Zamboanga for 25 years. And I guess it's a testament to how safe and vibrant Zamboanga City is. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Oh, one of the pictures there where it was about our Santa Cruz Beach. It's the equivalent of your Boracay, and it's only 15 minutes away from the city. So imagine that. I go there when I can. I go there from time to time because it's so easy to get there. So we are a debt-free LGU. Actually, I'm not too familiar with that statement. Do most LGUs, are they debt-ridden? I don't know. But our city has no debt, zero debt. So we're very vibrant in terms of economy, but we are mostly agricultural. So we want to invite the call centers here because if you look at the next slide, you'll see that we have a strong number of working class population. We have about, if you can see there, about 548,000 workers. And out of the 548,000, you can see from their educational attainment that close to easily 100,000 of them are more than high school graduates. And these are, I believe, some of them, I'm sure, are already working in your call centers around the Philippines. When I go around, and I always look for the bilingual agents, because usually your bilingual agents will have come from Zamboanga, because 80% of the people you see in this list can speak Spanish. It's a form of Spanish dialect, and people in Zamboanga just needs like a week or two of Spanish training to be able to converse in a call center type operation in Spanish. Next slide, please. We are a university town. We've always have been. We are the island's access to the Philippines. So as you can see, we have 3 SUCs and too many colleges to count. I think 15, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess what we want to show you is we are a university town, and our graduate output shows that. We have an Ateneo. Most of you might not know that we have an Ateneo in Zamboanga, and they produce a lot of our good talent. So that's the other SUCs and other private schools. Next slide, please. I apologize for the small text, but we wanted to highlight our graduates, a number of graduates instead of in terms of the medical and allied field. That number is 1,758. and that has been growing year on year. We produce a lot of nurses, and one of the problems of COVID is we have a lot of them coming home. So we want to be able to find them jobs, and since they've been skilled with so much time working abroad, we want to find them work where they can use their knowledge best, and what better way to bring them into HIMAP. Next slide, please. In terms of hospitals, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 major hospitals, both public and private. And we are also able to highlight health centers. We have many more clinics, but we weren't able to put a number to that. But given the number of hospitals we have, it just shows you the kind of output we have in terms of medical courses. Next slide, please. Just pictures of our hospitals. I believe we are building a new one, and one is on the way. Next slide, please. In terms of drugstores and pharmacies, we have about 143 branches spread throughout our city. So all of them have to have a pharmacist. So we're able to support that through our graduates. Our power costs it wasn't as cheap as before. It's now up 7 pesos 64 cents. It used to be only 5 pesos, but I think our hydropower has been drying up, so it has gone up a bit. Next slide, please. Just to show you how many connectivity companies we have. So we have 3, the major ones: Sun, Smart, and Globe. We have 4 cable TVs, 4 cable TV companies, and the rest are pre-standard AM radio, FM radio. But we have enough connectivity for any call center type of operation, and redundancy up to 3 or maybe 4. There are other smaller ISPs there, and they will be able to fully serve your needs. Next slide, please. So in terms of modes of transportation, we have the mall, bicycle, taxi, bus. We have Grab serving our city now. We have Food Panda serving our food now. So, I guess what I wanted to say is our city is big enough for these big companies to kind of want to get into. So, and there's a reason why. If you look at our population and our energized household, meaning 92% of everyone in Zamboanga has access to electricity. Next slide, please. 97% literacy rate. So everybody in Zamboanga, almost everybody in Zamboanga has been able to study, and thus very, very literate. Next slide, please. PUD. Actually, I had to Google that. I think it's a potential expansion. I forgot the exact term. PUD is an expansion. So these are the points of where the city wants to expand to. We are moving our airport to the east. So you'll see that we are actually heavily expanding into the east in terms of expansion. And once we are able to move our airport, which may happen, I don't know, in the next 5 years, our old airport will hopefully be turned into an economic zone or a business zone, just like what Iloilo did. Next slide, please. As you can see, the council through our LGU, which has been working with us, we were able to include the BPO sector in our priority list. And as you can see, you are number 3. And that means that we welcome BPO locators. We are able to give you investments if you do come. And we will have a segment on our economic zone, our special economic zone. We are lucky to have our chairman here to present for us. So you can see that our LGU is serious when it comes to inviting BPOs to our city. Next slide, please. So these are an example of the incentive that our LGU can give for new enterprises. with the, as an example, first 3 years, you'll get 3 years tax holiday, and then it goes down year on year after that. But imagine you're able to enjoy up to six years of tax holidays. Next slide. This will be for existing enterprises. Pretty almost similar, but again, I just wanted to highlight that you'll receive that kind of benefit if you register in the city. And last slide, please. So I hope we want to welcome you to Zamboanga City. For those of you who might be interested to getting more information about our city, please reach out to me at president@nicp.org.ph. And we still have one more slide, one more presenter. I wanted to welcome Sir Raul Regondola to present for the Eco Zone, because we have a very special economic zone, and we wanted our Eco Zone partners to be the ones to present. Thank you. Sir Raul, would you be the one to present, or would it be Sir Butch?
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present to you Zamboanga City Economic Zone and Freeport Authority. So at this juncture, I would like to turn this over to the head of our business development center, Mr. Reynold Pareja.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. The honorable members of this esteemed association.
Sir Raul, may I add? Okay. Go ahead, Sir Butch.
Okay, thank you, sir. Zamboanga City Special Economic Zone Authority and Freeport was created by virtue of Republic Act 7903. So, authored by the late then Congresswoman Maria Clara Lobregada. We are a standalone office, a separate customs territory, operating 22 kilometers away from Zamboanga City. Now, for the projects, we have 4 projects. We have the La Paz Biotech, that's located in the highlands. Mostly these are for agricultural industries. And the second one is the Asian Halal Center and West Corporate Center, and the Zamboanga Newport project. Now, we have more than 16,000 hectares of integrated agro-industrial, economic, financial, and tourist center with Freeport status. For our first development site, we have 2 components. We have the first industrial park, where we house the West Corporate Center and the Asian Halal. The second is the 448 hectares, which is a shoreline area suitable for heavy industries, and of course, an advantage because we're locating near or in proximity to the BIM Iaga growth polygon. Now, for our second development site, which is the Zamboanga Ecozone Highlands, it consists of around 15,000 hectares of land over area, forest, accessible for investments, which has been greatly enhanced with the provision of the road network system and the establishment of an agro-ecotourism park within that zone area. So, for the purpose of this meeting, we have an ongoing project which is about to be completed maybe in 3 months' time. This is the 2 towers for our BPO area. Now, this is a building which is ready for BPO operations, and the available lease space is around 2,175 square meters. We have stable power, and the connectivity is I mean the peripherals is in place, so it is ready for accommodating prospective BPO operator for locators here in the city. So more or less that comprises the profile of Sambo Ecosystem.
Thank you, Sir Butch.
Thank you.
Bachi, Sir JL, back to you.
Okay, now it's nice to know a lot of things are happening in Zamboanga. So if you take a look at the three speakers from Bataan to Pangasinan and then to Zamboanga, you will see that the common denominators that we're using is basically how you look at the preparedness of the local government. Sir Butch, if you don't mind, can you kindly put on mute
Yes.
if you are doing some feedback on the audio?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, po. Anyway, as I'm saying,
Ang echo.
interfering with another device.
Sir Butch, could you mute yourself?
Yes, medyo choppy.
Mute lang, sir. Ayan, okay.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Now, if you take a look at the three speakers, the presentation was really how the financial sector has prepared, and this can be best seen how the banks are progressing in the area. There's the infrastructure for both internet and power, and there's also the availability of the office spaces. Sir Butch, I think you happen to turn it on again. Can you please put it on mute, sir?
Come again, sir. Sir, nakamute po, sir.
So it's still on.
Yes,
Thank you. Anyway, when you take a look at office spaces, it's really not about the available office spaces. We're also looking at the availability of hotels to host guests, convention centers for gathering, lodging, etc. You have the schools and universities providing the talent pool. And with the schools and universities, you're also being measured on the support facilities like hospitals, drugstores, banks, groceries, malls, and then comes in now the talent pool. How the education the educational standards and the numbers are met. And then of course, very important is the incentives. What are the incentives, whether it comes from BOI or PESA, and then second to the last would be the LGU support, and then the last one would be the price difference. What's making your location be attractive? Aside from all of those things, what would be the differentiator? Now,
yes,
to a reaction.
okay, for the links, right beside us in our area is Western Mindanao State University. And along with the other universities located in downtown, we have established links with them for a possible BPO operations here. We really give it priority to provide labor or generate jobs for local talents, especially for call center agency.
Thank you, sir. We will go to the question in a few minutes. So again, if I could request for us to go on mute, we'll give way to our guest reactor speaker to provide points on how he sees the three speakers when they put in all of those discussion points. Okay, so for our guest panelists who will provide the reaction to the presentations, the person is really not new to us. So she's been around and have really interfaced with us in so many ways. Our next speaker is the co-founder and past president of the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines, NICP. And in 2012, she pioneered the clustering of the NICP and served as the lead convener of the Visayas ICT Cluster Organization, acronymed VICTOR. She was chosen as Asia Society Top 10 Philippines 21 Fellow in 2009 and Eisenhower Fellow of the Philippines for 2012. In March 2014, she was named as Philippine Individual Contributor of the Year during the International ICT Awards given by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Philippines. She served as the City Councilor of Bacolod for 9 years and founded the Bacolod Negros Occidental Federation for Information and Communications Technology, acronym BNE-FIT, in 2008. She chaired the NICP eGov Awards, or the Awards of Excellence in ICT for Good Governance. She developed the Negros' first cyber center and the first technology business incubator, acronym TBI, for tech startups in the province. In 2016, she founded the Philippine ICT Innovation Network, which seeks to create platforms for all ICT champions to collaborate on seeking solutions and strategies for the Philippines to thrive in the digital age. And in 2016, she was named as one of the outstanding women in the Nation Service, or TOWNS, awardee in the field of ICT. Ladies and gentlemen, to give a reaction to the presentations, I'd like to give you the co-founder and former president of NICP, Attorney Jocelyn Batapa Sige.
Hello, JL. Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon to all the reactors. I actually turned on my camera. Am I visible on screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see you.
Am I visible on screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see you. Yes, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I visible on screen? I actually turned on my camera.
Yes,
So I am visible on screen.
Attorney Josel, we can see you. We can see you on screen. Okay. And there's a feedback on your call. There's some echo on the voice, so maybe I can adjust a little. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you see me? Maybe Michael, can you wave if you can see me? All right.
Yes,
Okay. Because in my monitor I cannot see myself. Anyways, good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to congratulate HIMAP and the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines for coming up with this activity. It is my honor to be here. I divided my reaction into 3 parts and I wrote it down because I was given instruction to really just condense it in 3 minutes. So I'm going to be fast about it. First of all, we are discussing, we are being invited by one of the most respected organizations in the Philippines in terms of healthcare information, and that is healthcare information management, and that is HIMAP. And I would like to emphasize to all the stakeholders, even to all those watching us right now, that in the latest reports of different international entities and firms, I'd like to cite particularly the Global Skills Index 2020, healthcare is one of the most resilient industry in the world today. Regardless of what is happening to us in the midst of this pandemic, the healthcare industry, the concern and the sectors of the healthcare industry will always be with us. So in this Global Skills Index, there's 3 domains that are discussed, and these domains are going to stay and it's going to be very resilient, and governments around the world are asked to invest in these domains when it comes to skills development. So you have business, data science, and technology. And guess what? In all these 3 domains, healthcare is one of the top 5 sub-skill set. So there's business in healthcare, there's data science requirement in healthcare, there's technology requirement in healthcare. So I'm telling all our stakeholders and even our countryside stakeholders that if you invest your time and your resources and your focus on the healthcare industry, trying to attract them into your respective locations, then you are doing the right thing. Secondly, the pandemic has made our world even smaller. In the past, we talk about countries, regions, cities, towns, municipalities. Today, I say we are all but communities. And that is my challenge to everyone. We should think and act like communities, having the same vision, having the same realizations. And so I'd like to congratulate Dagupan, Zamboanga City, and Pangasinan. I guess I complete the panel because I come from the Visayas. So we are now Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. And I'm happy that I'm here. Thirdly, I would like to challenge everyone, even the HIMAP, that we need to include COVID management and COVID readiness in one of our basic criteria for choosing countryside locations. We cannot, not discuss the elephant in the room. It's very important that we embrace the new normal. Now, to my observations, and this is what I'd like to add to what the countryside champions already mentioned, based on my own personal experience, from March to April, I think our investors, our foreign and local investors, were in a state of shock. Why do I say shock? Because I haven't received a single inquiry for Bacolod. Not in my email, not even in my Facebook. But guess what? From May to June up to now, I have been receiving almost once a week a set or series of inquiries again, coming from foreign and local investors, that they are now again very interested to visit the countryside. So what are my key takeaways from this experience? First of all, the countryside now has become more attractive. With due respect to our friends from Manila, I think people now are going to the areas with less COVID cases. We have to say that candidly. So the countryside now has become more attractive. People now, or the industries now, are talking about business continuity, business resiliency. So I have a company, I have a branch in Manila, might as well put up a branch probably in Zamboanga, probably in Dagupan. So people now in the investment side are looking at business continuity. Second, in all these inquiries that I have received so far in the last 2 months, the key factor common is still talent, and skills. It's not a question of which cities have the most number of or has the least number of COVID cases. Maybe that's a big consideration, but the question is still talent. So therefore, I'd like to also share with the group that right now, as a digital transformation consultant for the Office of Senator Sani Angara, we have a pending digital career workforce bill, which cuts across all digital skills, looking at it, giving it priority in terms of skills development. The third thing I'd like to share is, in all these inquiries that I have received, the second question is, what are the incentives for us from the national government if we go to the countryside? I think HIMAP, IBPAP, and all the industry organizations now should really confront government. If you want balik probinsya, what are the jobs waiting for people in the provinces? And I say, and I recommend, it should be digital jobs, because digital jobs is the most resilient even in the face of COVID-19. So we have to confront our national and even our local officials, and I'm glad that your city officials in Dagupan, in Pangasinan, and in Zamboanga are very supportive, because there can be a set of tax incentives or packages, both from the national and local. But I think our foreign investors coming to the countryside are really looking at national incentives. So we have to ask, because they are asking me and I don't know the answer. Fourth, registration needs to be digital. Even as we speak today, I am already appealing to the industry to talk to PEZA, to DTI. No more manual procedures now. Our foreign investors wants to register with PEZA and DTI, and they want it digital. Everything has to be online. And they're asking me, if they locate in Bacolod, or let's say in Zamboanga, or in Dagupan, would they need to go back and forth to all these offices to set up shop? And we need to take a look at what are the current processes. We have to talk to the anti-red tape authority, to PEZA, to DTI, migrate all these processes, because jobs are coming. Despite the pandemic, jobs are still here. Digital jobs are coming to the countryside. And fifth, companies need to talk to the ICT councils online. I am challenging the ICT councils to our president, Mike Lim. We need to make ourselves available online. If investors reach out to us through Facebook, through Instagram, or even Kumu, we have to respond because we have to be reachable 24/7. We cannot leave this responsibility to our governments alone. Our local governments already have a lot in their hands. So in terms of investment promotion, we not only have to have our slides, we have to be accessible and available. Now, therefore, just to summarize my reaction, first and foremost, access to quality and in-depth information. We should give our investors, even the members of HIMAP, a very clear access to the information that they want about our city. They will ask us a lot of things, even the number of vehicles that are available, even during the time of pandemic, to transport their employees, even the number of healthcare centers that are there in the event that there are cases. So all of this information must be accessible to them. Second, there has to be more cohesive policy from local to national. The investors must see in one slide what will they get from local, what will they get from national in terms of incentives. I would think that aside from government directly getting taxes from its citizens, it will even be best for governments to give jobs to their citizens so that we can actually pay them taxes. It's important. Job generation is actually going to help our government. You know, our government now is looking at taxes, taxes, taxes. You know, they should look at jobs because jobs will yield taxes. The third is we should consider COVID-19 as part of the discussion. We cannot leave that issue behind. And for me, if I am the investor, I would also want at least one slide in the ICT Council's deck to talk about how am I assured that things are in place, measures are in place in order for the spread of COVID-19 to be suppressed. So in conclusion, I'd like to leave you with this line. I challenge all our comrades in the healthcare information management industry and even in the IT-BPM industry, let us not mope or dwell on a past that we can no longer go back to. Instead, let us use the present to build the future where we could all successfully thrive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Attorney Giselle. That was really a big summary of everything that we need to discuss. But I'm still reserving a few more points for discussion on the list of questions. So we don't have enough time. Probably we can process a few of these questions. And true to what Sir Roger mentioned in the opening, we might have a part 2 of this because there's really a lot of questions. So I look at the list of those who did a pre-registered questions. Unfortunately, the first four to five, I guess it was answered by the presentation. The question was, how prepared are the countryside? And we have seen from Bataan, from Pangasinan and Zamboanga, and even from Bacolod, that these places are well prepared to accept locators to open up BPO services. Now, I'll start with probably Bataan. The question here is, in the experience of the locators in your area, did BPOs in the countryside fare better in terms of business continuity compared to BPOs in the NCR? Any points on that? Sir? Kyrie?
Hello. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, Kyrie.
Yeah. Good afternoon. We also have on the call our president for the Bataan ICT Council, Pres BJ Bansod. He can chime in also. In terms of business continuity, our office, personally our office, the City Hall actually helped the BPOs located here in Balanga City to continue their operations. I believe even Pres BJ and their own business, hotel business, also accommodated the employees of certain BPOs to locate closer to their facility. We also helped one of those IT-BPM companies to actually convert their operations to work from home. We even gave them assistance in terms of vehicles to bring their equipment to respective houses of their employees. So in terms of business continuity, we were there throughout from the start of the lockdown, and even to this day, we're still assisting them and even helping them in their hiring needs, because they did have to. Some had to hire again because some also had to, I guess, leave their jobs. But so far, the headcount is rising, thankfully. First, BJ, you might have some inputs as well.
Yeah, thank you, Kerry. I'd like to qualify, you might have noticed in the deck that Balanga has presented that there are kind of low graduates compared to other geographies. And the reason for this is a lot of the students in Bataan are taking their university courses in Manila because our proximity is so close. And then with the experience of BPOs, I'd like to cite the one case by BotKeeper. They are actually operating from a building that is not a PEZA zone. That is testament to our talent here. No? The reason they were happy to go to a geography where there's no PEZA incentives because the talent is here.
Well, nice to know that. It seems that, when really they want to locate in an area, it's really not just all the factors that we have discussed. Sometimes it's really more of the people. Some are also after incentives. That's good to know. Now, let me pose the question to Ed Casula from Pangasinan, or anybody who is with you in Pangasinan. So, sir, in what specific ways can the newly launched Balik Provincia program positively impact the IT-BPM industry development in the countryside? The question was given by John Thomas Garcia of the Batangas City ICT Business Council.
I can probably answer that with a story because I have some contacts, members also of the UPICT, that they have experienced some closing up of their business or company in Manila, and they're trying to go back to Pangasinan. Now, with the advent of the testament of Saitel moving into the Gupan City and Ordaneta, that means a lot of these companies are really looking into going back to the countryside, and it's a response to what's being felt and experienced by the people that's experiencing this the challenge of the pandemic. So we welcome that as like an opportunity, like a blessing in disguise, because these companies are really into tapping these talents, moving from NCR, Manila, going back to the countryside, which is in our place in Pangasinan.
Okay, that's nice to know. I think there's really a positive impact of people coming back to their hometowns. And if they have done that skill, they have harnessed that skill set in Metro Manila, surely they can do it also in their respective places. Now, I have here a question which I'd like to ask to Michael. So it came from Adrian Chombian of the British Chamber. So the question is, what are the current and the post-COVID future opportunities in the Philippines that the British firms can plan for, and how can they collaborate with local strategic partners and associations to help with digital transformation? And what opportunities are there for British firms to enter in the sector in the countryside like Zamboanga?
Okay. Thank you for that question, JL, and thank you, Sir Ed, for asking that question. I guess it depends on what kind of industry that British company is in, but I heard that in Europe and in the US, companies are starting to close down one by one, and they're looking for ways to save on costs. So I think this would be a good strategy for companies who want to outsource here in the Philippines. If you want to save on costs, you come here, you set up hopefully a company or an outsourcing company that will be able to serve your needs in Europe from here. We've seen a lot of companies do that, and they have been very, very successful. But in terms of inviting British companies here to help with the needs of COVID prevention, I guess they have to be in the healthcare industry for one, and maybe the best industry to connect with is actually HIMAP, not NICT. But if they were into ICT, for example, we would definitely be able to help connect them if they want to network here in the Philippines.
Okay, I hope the British representatives of the British Chamber heard that. Anyway, I think there's really opportunities for firms from the different chamber groups to really take a look at the countryside. Now, I have here a very good question from Willie Tanagon of the Quezon City ICT Council. And I'd like Attorney Giselle to answer the question, because I think this would really put a give balance on the push and pull between NCR and the countryside. So, Attorney Giselle, the question is, how can the industry balance growth of employment opportunities in the provinces and the urban center like NCR, that is the receiver of the exodus of job seekers? For several years now, the jobs in the provinces are not enough to keep the job seekers in their province. Remember, there are millions of unemployed in NCR that if they are deprived of income sources, they will really suffer from poverty. Attorney Giselle?
Well, that's a very hard question. Coming from also a council that is also a co-founder of the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines in 2008. So I think we have to go back to our core. When we started the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines, the goal really of NICP is to bridge that gap between the Metro Manila jobs and the jobs beyond Metro Manila, because we've always been saying that beyond Metro Manila, you have 80 provinces, you have more than 1,000 local government units, all working towards job generation. So I think one is we really have to strengthen and empower the champions. It's very important that we empower the champions. Over the last 12 years that I've been part of NICP, I have seen how ICT Council officers, members, and champions really go out of their way, spend their time, spend their resources, spend, practically, medyo talagang mga heroes na itong mga ICT councils natin. Sometimes they're even misunderstood. Sometimes they're not even helped by the other stakeholders. The academe is not really very cooperative sometimes. The government as well. So I think that's one key and important thing that we should do. We should empower the ICT champions in the countryside, because all else will follow. The ICT champions in the countryside will help bring about talent development. They will be catalysts of this talent development and skills development. The ICT Council will bring about a push for e-governance. Then our foreign investors will really think that we walk the talk in our cities because we want IT jobs, but our LGU systems are not, in the IT space. So, and, a lot of things, and our ICT councils are even pushing for startups, for technopreneurship. So my take is just one message. Tap your ICT councils, whatever city you are, reach out to them. These are people who have no motive. They're not there for the business. They're just there to really promote digital advocacy. Thank you.
Okay, well said, Attorney Giselle. So let's move forward so that we can answer a few more. This question is for the three locations. Start with Bataan. Sir, with all of the things that you have done to prepare for Come again?
I
Okay.
think that was just an echo, sir.
I think it was just an echo. Okay, for the three locations, with all the things that you have done to prepare your respective location for investors, locators, etc., what else do you need from the association like HIMAP? What effort can we do, an association, to assist you further in making sure that investors, companies can be in your location? So let's start with Bataan.
Press BJ. You want to take take the question?
You might anyway, I think it's actually my first time to participate in a HIMAP event, and I'm very pleased to meet all of you. And I think we're always welcoming of all the potential BPO investors that would want to take a look at our geography. And the reason why we're here is we want to help. I think si Attorney General is my idol. I think last 2015 we benchmarked Bacolod, and after 5 years, here we are, and we have three BPOs already in the bag. So we want to gain more investments, and the healthcare sector is certainly in our in our site. So we'd like to collaborate with HIMAP more on what metrics are important to you in selecting a particular geography so we can assist you. In the case of Bataan, we're proud of our local government. In the evaluations of our locators, it consistently ranks high. We have this thing in Bataan called One Bataan under the leadership of our governor, Albert Garcia. All the mayors and the local government officials are in unison. So it's not hard to invest here because there's no political inviting really.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's nice to know, sir. So, Ed Castula, the question remains, is there anything else you could add? What else can HIMAP do with all the preparations you already did? Is there something else that we can do?
Probably as per my experience, I was able to become part of, I could say, part of like a healthcare service because we started a medical transcription training center way back 2012, if I can remember that correctly. Now, but more on the information side of all those job opportunities, we did have the hard time promoting that particular nature of the job. So more on the visibility of those opportunities for
Okay.
the graduates, the fresh graduates as well.
Okay, so we have promotion, more exposure. How about Michael? Can you add more?
Thank you, JL. Actually, I think HIMAP can do a lot for Zamboanga. We were able to identify two niches for Zamboanga City. One is Spanish-speaking agents, and the other are actually medical graduates that we have. As you saw from our numbers, we are usually double or triple what other cities produce. And there's a reason for that, because we do have a lot of nursing schools in our city. So one way that HIMAP can help us is use the data, use a presentation, please send it out to your members, and then ask them to reach out to us if there are any inquiries, concerns, or anything of that sort. But one thing that HIMAP can really help us with is compliance. I know HIMAP is heavy on compliance, especially HIPAA compliance, or even the other compliance, I forget, for nurses. We'd like to sit down with HIMAP so that we can talk to our academe and tell them if there needs to be any changes or add additions to the curriculum so that we can integrate that knowledge while they're still in school instead of having to train them further once they get to the workplace. So we are heavy on industry academic partnerships, and we hope that that's something that HIMAP can actually sit down with us in Zamboanga to do that. So I really think that marketing is one of the hardest things to do for a city like Zamboanga. Sometimes the perceptions of my city, precedes itself. But I'm sure with what you know and what you found out through hopefully my presentation and the presentation of our ecozone, spread the word that it's not what media builds it out to be. And that's it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Now, if you summarize the questions given in advanced questions forwarded, some of the questions really is geared to and focused or being directed towards HIMAP. What are the things that you can do to promote countryside? And if you summarize it all, like programs, trying to promote the next wave cities, etc. So I'd like to provide now an opportunity for HIMAP, probably with the president or the chairman. Can we answer that question? What programs are we doing in HIMAP that basically answer the question on supporting the countryside development for healthcare IT-BPM?
Roger,
Tha-
do you
yeah,
want Okay.
I'll take a shot at it, Bang, and then we'll have the other folks also comment. I think this is one, we're thankful in a way because of the digitalization, and now because of the COVID pandemic, as an association, we'd have to reach out to our members electronically. In the past, we had to hold our meetings on a physical basis, but now because of the pandemic, we're doing it through the internet. And because of that, we're reaching out now to many folks in the provinces, and we've been encouraging membership. Michael knows this because this is like so many sessions already we've been having, and Michael has always been there and been very helpful. In fact, on a separate note, with the NICP, we've been trying to see how we can work things out, HIMAP and NICP in partnership, to see how we can bring and develop more healthcare opportunities in the countryside, whether that's actually having sites or installing locations in these new areas, or having the quick and fast work from home model. Because right now, the fastest way to get people going in the countryside is to do work from home. Many of our member companies have employees in their main cities, but some of them come from the outlying provinces and suburbs, right? So they've had to work from home. Whether, for the folks in Metro Manila, we have folks that were working in Bulacan, Pampanga, sometimes even Laguna, Cavite. And they're able to work from home. They're able to do that. But beyond that, I think we need to do a little bit more. And that's where also on another area, capability development is being prepared with our leader is Raymond Ang, who leads the Capability Development Committee of HIMAP. Try to see how we can build more skills. We see the resource, we see the talent. We need to build more resources to be, to help us in our industry. Those are just my thoughts, Jay. I'll turn it over to Beng for her comments as well.
Yeah. So yeah, in addition to what Roger has mentioned, I guess we would like to strengthen the ICT councils across the entire, the countryside ICT councils, because I guess that's one area that most of the locators would look at, no, before even go to the countryside. They would like to talk to someone, and most often the face to the countryside would be the ICT council. So I guess it's really trying to have a very mature ICT council, and then to a certain extent, I guess HIMAP can share best governance, the way we handle HIMAP as well. No?
Did we lose Miss Beng?
I am afraid so. I
Yeah.
think so.
So anyway, Miss Beng, we cannot hear you anymore. Probably it's the signal. But Roger, do you want to close that portion of which Miss Beng started?
Yeah, well, I think maybe just to help and chime in a little bit more, I really think we have to work closely with the ICT councils, and I think it's very much connected to the challenge that Attorney Josel brings out to the different ICT councils. If we realize there's a big educational effort we need to do to prepare our LGUs in our different city, in our different cities. If you look at the digital cities that was launched by the ICT a few weeks back and reinforced yesterday at the IBPAP, we realized the challenge of getting our LGU leadership on board as far as getting these digital cities taking off. We need that. The ICT councils are the tools. They are the vehicle by which we can increase and develop and build awareness and education. Because when we go to the countryside and we recruit people, people don't understand what our jobs are, right? They don't understand what we do. When they do a healthcare job, the first thing they think about is maybe a nurse in a hospital or in a clinic and things like that. But it's more than that. It's a lot more. There's more. There are careers that can be made. There's significant training. There's significant development and new sets of skills. And I think that's where we believe ICT councils are very, very important. And that's why we're thankful, Attorney Giselle, for the challenge. We're thankful, Michael, for having this partnership with HIMAP. I think we can work on that, taking it forward, JL. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have still a long list, but unfortunately we are pressed with time. I think HIMAP made it a way that all of those questions given, we send it to the speakers and then let the speakers provide answers and share it with the members. So as we close the webinar for today, I'd like to give each of the speakers, including our guest reactor, 1 minute each to make a closing, why people should go to your province, city, municipality. So let's start with Bataan.
Yeah. Good
Irene?
afternoon. Yeah, can you still hear me? Sorry, my audio earlier was not working. But good afternoon to HIMAP and good afternoon to all of the members of the audience this afternoon. Balanga is host to the tobacco-free generation. We are the first tobacco-free generation as per Guinness, and we are uh, as per our mayor Francis Garcia, and we do not sell tobacco here in Bataan. It's actually something that we are contesting because we are promoting the health of our citizenry and our guests and our investors as well. That is one thing that that our IT-BPM companies have recognized and are very appreciative of our cleanliness and our wellness initiatives. So we hope that we can invite our BPO companies in the healthcare information industry, and we look forward to coordinating and collaborating with you. And thank you for having us for this afternoon. And thank you to NICP and to HIMAP again. Thank you. Good
Thank
afternoon.
you, Kyrie. Thank you, Kyrie. Hope to visit Bataan. Now, Ed, your 1 minute, please.
So thank you once again, Haima, for this opportunity to present. And in our council, United Pangasinan, we have a program or a regular forum where we want to stress, let's get up north. That's our battle cry. And it's a high time now to go up here. And we're very ready and we welcome all the investors to the first who would come in would really exploit the untapped talents and skills of this region. And we're very excited for the future.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. And now, 1 minute, Michael.
Hi, Dale. How I wish I could bring Eric Kaufman here. Eric was with us yesterday, and he works in IBEX, and he has multiple sites in the countryside. And I'd like to take excerpts from what he said. They were not only able to save on cost, because that's the number one reason why somebody would probably start to look into the countryside to save on cost. But number two, they found more and more talent, hidden talent in the countryside, hidden gems that you may not find in Manila because some of them may not have the capacity to come to Manila. And the other things that BPO companies will get by moving into the countryside is the retention rates are usually higher, productivity is usually higher, and the people appreciate you more because you are bringing jobs into their city. So the people and the LGU will love you, and we in the ICT Council will ensure that that happens because we would love to bring in jobs for our people. And I guess we will serve as your touch point for any of the cities that were mentioned here. And any of the cities that are not mentioned here, please still reach out to us because we can link you up with all our other ICT councils.
Thank you, Michael. So, Ernie, not just for Bacolod, but also for the things that you do with the government initiatives to promote the countryside. Your 1 minute, please.
Yeah, thank you. I just would like to take this opportunity to also throw a second challenge to HIMAP and all the ICT industry organizations. The World Health Organization actually recommends a clustering, a scientific clustering for COVID management. I think for job generation, we should also take a look at geographic clustering. Not only city or province per province or city per city. Let's try to create a map clustering the cities and the provinces together so that they can help each other. I think if we go beyond just one city or one province at a time and cluster different areas in the Philippines, we can have a more decisive and targeted approach. Thank you very much for this invitation.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney Justel. Mahabol yung challenge. Okay, so I think we have time to listen to Ms. Beng being the chairman for the closing remarks. Ms. Beng, you're up.
Yeah, sorry for being off earlier on. So again, our deepest gratitude to all the speakers. This would not have been possible without your particular presence in this particular session. It is about time that we are able to reach out to our brothers and sisters in the countryside, and what better way to do it through this collaboration tool that we have, no? So I think this is just the first of a number of sessions that we will have. We simply focus on the first three of the 25 digital cities, so we still have a long way, but I guess this is the first time to provide visibility to all of the sites that have not been actually promoted in the past. No, so I know that we have a lot of talent requirements here in Metro Manila, and we're so it's actually time that we actually look at the countryside, because that's where the growth would come in. No, so again, we have our ICT councils. Really, we will reach out to all of you so that we can really make sure that the integrated industry association that we all require would come to fruition. So again, thank you very much, and I hope we can see each other in the next Friday 1 p.m. habit in our next session. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll turn you over to Roger. My job is done. Thank you very much for making me the moderator. Till we meet again. Thank you.
And thank you, JL. Yeah.
Thank you, JL. Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank
Thursday
you.
and a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Stay safe, everyone.
Everyone, take care.
Thank you, Miss Bachi.